Not every student likes a digital copy of a textbook, and depending on the subject, that becomes even more important for access and accessibility for students. So with OER, those resources are always freely available digitally. However, that does not mean ever that we're limited to digital only options for students. There are print options. So a couple of examples. This is just a textbook from the Open Textbook Library. And if I click on that one, it's going to show me all of my digital options. And this one actually shows me a physical option that I can order for online for $17.96. So this is a 200 to 300 level statistics textbook for college, and unlike a traditional publisher textbook, the print price is only $18 for students. So you can actually put those links directly into your learning management system or your course shell and allow students to purchase them if they'd like. Students can also find a lot of the more popular textbooks available on Amazon. So for example, the textbook that we were just looking at, as well as a different iteration of it, are available paperback, $23 for that one. And there's a Kindle version, which your students shouldn't pay for because it's already digital, but there's also a paperback version that's used. So those options are available. And many instructors will do this for students, send their students to this site, or connect with their bookstore to sell materials to their students with lulu.com. And as I'll go back here, if we look at this collaborative statistics textbook, when I click on the soft cover purchase, it actually takes me to a version already created at lulu.com. Now, if your textbook isn't available already on Lulu or Amazon or Barnes & Nobles or another site, then you or your students or your bookstore can come and create a free account at Lulu. It is free to make books and sell them. So I go to Express Printing, and I would, if I was doing this one, I would download the PDF, and I can create a username and password and upload that PDF right into Lulu and have it printed for me. So students, again, bookstores and faculty, libraries can do this for extra print copies for reserve or checkout in the library as well. A lot of your chemistry, math, subjects where there's formulas that require some spatial difference to understand them and that text readers don't do well with them, those students particularly tend to prefer print copies of textbooks. Now, if I put a different textbook, so for example, instead of the collaborative statistics, I do your Open Intro to Statistics, which is a bigger text and broader one. Downloading that into Lulu, I can get a black and white copy for about $16. Hardcover and in color copy, I can purchase either on Amazon for $8 or I can upload into Lulu, and that's going to cost me about $22. So the idea is that we're still providing really affordable options to our students. Now, the next question that faculty always ask about printing is that legal? And you have to remember your textbook, if you're using an open text, it has a Creative Commons license on here. So as long as what you're doing abides by the Creative Commons license, then yes. So the couple where we get tricky in is the no derivatives. So if I have a textbook with no derivatives and I am changing it or editing it and sharing it with my students, if I share that out in the public at all by putting it up on Lulu or putting it for sale, there's some challenge here with the no derivatives. So that's where you would get involved with your local campus librarian for questions. The question that is the most common, especially with bookstores, is this non-commercial is pretty common, and does that count? Now, if you're a nonprofit institution, selling that text in your bookstores is not considered a commercial effort. If you're making them and selling them openly to the public, just for kicks, yes, you're making money, and that's a commercial effort. But for nonprofit institutions like public institutions of higher ed, that's non-commercial. If your institution has a commercial or for-profit organization that's running your campus bookstore, such as Barnes & Noble bookstores or even some Follett stores, then that's something you're going to have to check in with your bookstore. Now, it may be something that they can then offer if it's a text. It also might be something that your library might provide, or the institution can provide. However, the thing to remember about print copies is that the institution doesn't have to provide them. So if you have an obscure text that you can't find anywhere, but it's a non-commercial, no derivative, and you want your students to be able to buy a print copy, or they're asking, they can come here to Lulu themselves, set up an account, and print it out and have it bound and sent to them. One of the benefits of the print-on-demand effort on campuses, or having students do that, is no matter what the student's financial resources are, or when they join the class, on day one of the course, they always have full access to the course materials because they're digital and they're free. With Lulu, it might take them a week or maybe even 2, depending on busyness, to get that textbook in, but they still have access throughout. They're not waiting on things to show up and struggling in the first couple weeks. So student success and optimal student access is the driving factor in all of this. But always remember, there are print options for open educational resources, and your institution will help you get your students access to those options.